Okay, now we're ready.
Awesome. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
I saw Madeline finished her comic from yesterday. Cannon Boys, they're on, right? I can't see their video though. What'd you say, Kristen?
They don't have video up. I think that like with their internet connection, I think they're out on their porch so their neighbor can join. And I think that it's probably less glitchy without video.
Yeah.
Following
well, I would love to see your comic that you finished yesterday. That is a great accomplishment. That is awesome that you did your very first comic. Good job. So today, yeah, show everyone, Madeline. Look how awesome that is. Great job.
I love it, Madeline. Good job.
So today we're going to talk more about developing a character. Characters are really important to have a good character because that's what really gets us emotionally involved in the story, and we get attached to that character. I don't know if you guys have any favorite stories, and it most likely is because of the character that you love that story. So a character can be, like we talked about yesterday, a person, an animal, or a thing. Like my character is a balloon. So it doesn't have to be human. And writers use characters to kind of move the dialogue along. They use it to create a story that keeps moving. So the character, if you took him out, there would be no story. So not only do you have to develop a character with words, like most writers, as a comic book artist, you develop the character visually. And that can be kind of intimidating when you're first starting out drawing. But that's what we're going to focus on today, is learning to draw our character. We're going to make it really easy, okay? So I wanted to point out that your main character is called a protagonist. And sometimes if you have a villain or a bad character that fights against your character, they are called the antagonist. And then a lot of times characters have sidekicks. Like Nick's character is Chester, and he has Turnip as a sidekick. And these are some famous comics. Rocky and Bullwinkle, they are this. Rocky's the main character, and Bullwinkle is kind of like his sidekick. And then Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin's the main character, maybe, and then Hobbes is his sidekick, or sometimes the other way around. Sometimes the sidekick is the starring role in some comic strips. Okay, so just remember that your drawing skills don't have to be perfect. You could even just have stick figures, and that's perfectly okay, because there are some famous comics that just have stick figures. Okay, so yesterday we kind of started defining our character in words. And we kind of thought about like what our character wants and what kind of personality they have, right? What are their motivations and dreams? What are their hopes, right? Because we all have hopes and dreams. And that's what really helps us connect with that character. But also, something we didn't talk about yesterday is everyone has flaws. Do you know what flaws are, Madeline? Was that word familiar to you? So flaws are things that we don't do well. Okay, so everyone has something that they don't do well, right? And that's what makes your character real. So your character's not going to be this perfect person. They're going to have things that they fail at, or they're not very good at. Okay, so I wanted to have you guys brainstorm maybe what your character's flaw is. And you can use the paper that we were writing with yesterday. to kind of write down some ideas. Okay, so there's some more lines here if you filled in all of this here.
Maybe we could think first about some characters that we already know pretty well.
Yeah.
I even like to start with myself. Like, I'm hardly ever on time. That's one of my flaws.
That's a great flaw to have your character have. Never on time.
Never on time. Never on time. Always behind.
A lot of times characters can be naive, which means that they really don't understand things very well and maybe can think the best of things and then get surprised when they don't turn out that way.
Yeah. Like Batman is a loner. He has a hard time having friends. Let's think of some other characters.
Let's see. I don't think you guys know Garfield, probably. But Garfield is very pessimistic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Odie is the opposite.
Yeah.
Like the eternally optimistic one. Madeline, what are some of your favorite characters?
I do not know.
What is a cartoon that you love watching?
Yeah, cartoon or...
Well, I don't watch cartoons. I just sort of watch the movies and,
That's okay. What's your favorite character from a movie then?
Little tricky.
What's the last movie you saw? What's the last movie you watched? Let's start there.
Zombies 2, because I haven't seen it. Well, it's just like a kid show.
Yeah, say it again. It's what?
Like Zombies 2.
Zombies 2. Okay. Who is the main character in that show?
Addison.
Addison. Okay. What is Addison really good at?
Cheering.
Okay. What is she not so good at?
Well, she was not good at. She was good at things. She was good at cheering. But all she wanted to be is a werewolf.
Okay, so maybe she's a little bit too consumed with being a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does that get her distracted, or maybe that's the reason why she makes mistakes sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's how you develop your character. You think, what is my character going to be good at? And then what is my character not going to be so good at? And you can draw from real life, right? You can think about your friends or the people that are around you all the time. What are they good at? And what are they not so good at? Okay? So that's how you can start developing your characters. You can base them on real people or characters that you already love, like in Zombies, like Addison. Okay? It doesn't all have to be like brand new ideas. It can be stuff that you're basing on real characters, real people even. Yeah?
Yeah, it could even be based off yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my balloon might have a character flaw that he's too curious, and maybe that gets him into trouble sometimes.
Yeah, like Curious George.
Yeah.
Hi. Can you see us?
Hi, is that you?
Yeah, can you see us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, guys.
Okay.
Can you see? Sorry, we're late.
No, you're fine. Don't worry about it. We're just talking about character development and coming up with the things that your character is good at and what your character is not so good at.
So yeah, Nick, we were thinking about some of our favorite books or movies and the characters in those books or movies, and thinking about what they're good at and what they're not so good at.
And it's actually the canon on Emily's iPhone. I thought it was Nick coming in, but it's
not Nick.
On her iPhone.
On the other one. Okay.
We're having our house cleaned, so we're on our front porch and hanging out.
Cool.
Cool. That's so fun.
So boys, you can share with us your ideas for characters. We're brainstorming right now about different characters and what they're good at and what they're not so good at. Like their superpowers and flaws.
Well, we don't. I told you my superhero.
But yeah, you can say what is your superhero good at?
My superhero is good at like every. He has all the powers in the world.
What flaws?
Wait, what?
What are his flaws? What are he not as
He's not as good as at like paying attention to.
good at?
I love that. That's a
But
great flaw.
Okay. What about you, Sawyer?
Like maybe our character could be clumsy. Like if he wears a cape, maybe he gets his cape caught in things all the time. That would be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny.
I'm gonna draw like a comic strip after I make my big comic, and it's gonna be Donald.
Donald.
Yeah, Donald. Well, Donald.
Donald. Oh, he's like a poop?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Donald.
That is really funny, Cocker. That's hilarious. Okay, this is right. So write those things down so you don't forget them. Okay.
That's a good idea. Write that one down.
This is a good way to listen.
I'll write it down. I don't.
Here you go.
I'll write it garbage.
Garbage can. Where do you want to share the one you made yesterday too? Where did it go? Where did the blimp go?
Oh no, not that one. I don't want to share that one.
Oh.
My title page for my comic book is the two superheroes.
Is what, Cocker?
The two superheroes.
Awesome. I love it. I love that you already have your title worked out.
And it's one because I'm gonna do two of them. And cause like I like making comic books.
That's awesome. Perfect. Madeline, did you need help with your character development, or you figured something out? You need a little help? Are you going to keep your ice cream cone character, or are you wanting to change it?
Keep my ice cream.
Keep your ice cream cone? Awesome. Okay, so what could your ice cream cone be good at? Maybe she's very observant or caring. She could be very caring. She always so happy.
Caring, yeah.
Yeah, you like that? Okay. So what could happen to where sometimes he makes mistakes? Like what kind of character flaw could she have that would make her not so caring sometimes?
Being stuck in a box.
What was that? Dozing off? Is that what you said, Madeline?
Being stuck in a box.
Oh, being stuck in a box. Okay. So do you feel like maybe she feels helpless sometimes? Yeah, that could be like her character flaw, is that she wants to make other people happy, and she's really caring, but she feels helpless.
I think that's an excellent character development, Madeline. It's very interesting and it gives you a whole lot to work with.
Yeah.
Yep. Warren Class, what's your character in Money BP?
Awesome. You guys are doing so good. This is sometimes really hard, but you guys are doing great. Okay, so something else I want you to consider is maybe how your character talks. Like, in a lot of different comics, they might have an accent, or some characters just make noises. They don't even speak English. Maybe they're really funny all the time, like cracking jokes. Maybe they're very stiff and wise and intelligent. So how does your character talk? There's a character in the Peanuts comic that I think it's the teacher, and he's very monotone, like, and it's wah 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 wah, and that's like all he says is wah wah wah. He doesn't make any other words or sounds than that, and it's really funny that that character just says those things.
Yeah, the teachers and the parents.
Character could be goofy.
The first what I made was sentence I made. Upon a time on Earth, there was
I love it. Okay, awesome. Okay, so once we kind of get an idea, and you guys can keep going back and adding to this list. Like, this list can change and evolve over time. We're going to start drawing our character visually to kind of make that character look like who we want it to look like. Okay, so on your other page in your little booklet, I have several of these little pages here. It says, I can't draw until I practice. And this is a great way to kind of break down drawing your character. And there's a couple of ways to go about it. Everyone kind of goes at it differently. Okay, but I'm going to kind of walk you through. And while I'm doing this, you can practice in your own book, or practice drawing your own character. Like, even though my character's a balloon and your character's an ice cream cone, Madeline, you might have people in your comic at some times, right? Okay, so people are probably the hardest thing to draw. So we're going to kind of break it down so it's real easy. Okay, so I like drawing people with just basic shapes, because we all know how to draw shapes, right? So for the head, it can be really any shape of circle. I'm just going to draw just a round circle for the head. Okay, your character can have a neck. And Madeline, you took our portrait class, so you're ahead of the game here. Usually the eyes go right in the middle of the head. So I'm going to draw 2 circles for the eyes. And usually in comic book characters, they're just shapes for the facial features. There's usually not a lot of detail. Unless you get into more realistic comic books like superhero books, but you don't have to make them realistic, okay? And sometimes those are animated with the computer. So I'm just going to draw 2 little circles for the eyes, a little nose, like just a tiny little mark, and a little circle for the mouth. Okay? And I'm drawing in this marker just so you can see what I'm doing, but you would want to draw in a pencil so that you can go back and erase lines that you don't need. Sorry, Madeline. Okay. And then your character can have a neck or no neck. This is great because comic book characters don't have to be realistic. I'm just going to draw like a little triangle shape for the body. What?
I can stand up on my head as well.
And a lot of times you can exaggerate the length of legs. They can be really short. They could be really long and big. You can exaggerate all of these shapes. And if you look at some of these comics, they're really exaggerated. Let me see. There's one comic book I don't think I included, but it's Osterix and Obelix, and their characters are very exaggerated. Like he has a huge belly and tiny little legs and feet. Okay, so then for the legs, I'm just going to do kind of like the opposite shape. I'm just going to do like that. I see that our character's starting to be developed here. Okay, and then you can add in tiny little circles or ovals to the feet. Okay, and then for the arms, I'm just going to make some curved little shapes like that for the arm. And then for the hands, I'm just going to make some little squiggly little hands to represent fingers. And then you can give your character some hair, any kind of hair you want. This character can be a boy or a girl. You can see there's a character. Okay, so that's how you can draw a character using basic shapes. You can also start by drawing a stick figure. So let's see, maybe my stick figure will be in movement. Maybe they'll be running. Okay, so I can draw a head and then his long body. And then these are going to be his legs. And he's going to be running. There's his arms. Okay, so here's my stick figure. And I'm going to use this as kind of like a skeleton to start drawing around my stick figure. So I can start like putting shapes around what I just drew.
See, look, but you can just so you can get this motion down and stuff. Draw around.
Daddy, look. So you went down here, but went up, and then
Drawing like this. We're just learning how to draw. Then that way, when you do your comic, it's
Okay. So then I started filling in around my stick figure lines. And if you draw in pencil, you can just erase those original stick figure lines. Okay, and then you can add in details like feet and hair and eyes. Okay.
I like those.
And there you have a person.
No.
Okay, so another way to do it, start with a stick figure and then fill in around that stick figure line. Okay, and on your paper, it shows you kind of like a breakdown of that. And then you have this page here. It shows you lots of different hairstyles and some expressions. And we'll go over expressions more tomorrow. Okay, so those are some things to get you started. This is how you can break down like a movement that you want your character to have, just with basic shapes. So go ahead and just practice some of these, maybe drawing some of your character's movements. Like if you have a scene in mind, you can practice drawing your character in that scene. So just play around with it. Play around with different shapes and see what happens.
Let me have a marker. Settle. So. First one, something else. Yeah.
There's another character. Got a skinny, tall head, big body, short little legs.
Yeah. No what?
We don't need a lot of detail. Just have fun. This one with like a watermelon head. There was a character actually growing up. There was a cartoon, I don't even remember what it's called, but he had like a watermelon shaped head and he always got made fun of it for it. Do you remember that cartoon, Kristen? You know which one I'm talking
I'm
about?
trying to think. All I can think of right now is Stewie from Family Guy.
Oh yeah, he definitely has a watermelon shaped head
Yeah.
too.
No, I know who you're talking about. It was a Nickelodeon cartoon. Is it Hey Arnold? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it was Hey Arnold. That's right. Thank you.
Just telling her age. Just telling her age. The secret's out of the bag.
Yep. Maybe this this character has like triangle shaped nose or head. Let's see.
It kind of looks like in a jumpsuit. Thank you. Okay. And I'm gonna have a giant potato head. A giant
Awesome. I love it.
and giant
Maybe stick some ears on your character. Can have ears that stick out.
Hey, Daddy, look. This is all I've got right now. So it's upon time on Earth. So he was, oop, and then he went on a ski, right? And then went up, and then snap. Ooh, this sweater can't work. Yeah, I'm gonna cut that out. Just kidding. Wait, why does it have an H right here?
You getting the hang of this, Madeline? Yeah, how's your characters coming out?
Two chairs. And,
Oh my goodness, you're doing so good. I love it. So yeah, if you break down a character shape to simply, this is great for comics, especially for comics.
His head was bigger and bigger. His head
It's bigger and bigger. Maybe his head gets stuck in the doorway or something. It's so big.
it's gonna be so big. He's gonna have his face stuck through the roof.
Oh
can't
my
wait to
god,
see
that's,
Oh my
that's so
God.
sad.
That sounds amazing. Can't wait to see it, Archie. Like I'm dying.
I love that you're exploring and having fun
About
with
to
this.
explode with anticipation.
And if your character has a sidekick, you can draw the sidekick too. Maybe Madeline and I can like practice drawing our main character. Like maybe your ice cream cone has 2 or 3 scoops on it. Maybe they're like perfect circles, maybe they're not.
It was a boy. And then he went on a ramp
Maybe.
and went up. And then he didn't know what to do. So, and then the cute said,
Today I had this idea that you know those like little glare spots on a balloon? Those
And I
could be like his eyes. So I made a couple of them for his eyes, and then like he has this smile. Even though that's not realistic, like that glare wouldn't be there on a balloon. I can use that as like his eyes. And I was thinking, Madeline, yesterday when I was doing that, I was thinking of your ice cream cone. Maybe your ice cream cone could have like sprinkles, and the sprinkles could be placed as like eyes or nose or even a cherry on it. So like the toppings of your ice cream could be his face or her face.
now what? I really, my Now his face is up to his roof.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing. Okay. So today we're really going to, after you guys feel comfortable with drawing some characters.
Eyes are bigger than an elephant.
Wow. Your superhero is ginormous.
Yeah. Oh
Love
my
it.
gosh. I can't wait to see it. Archie, can you show us? Can you put
Yeah,
a picture up to
Show
the
us a
camera?
picture of it. Oh my goodness, I love it.
I love it. I love what's in that head of yours, Archie.
He's
Yeah.
so big. He's so big you could even see the
Yeah.
Like when you're drawing Archie too, in your comic strip, you could draw like little buildings.
this small because that
Yeah. I like that. I like it a lot.
Like you could draw little tiny buildings in your big character so we can see how big he is in reference.
and this is how tall his house is now.
Awesome. So our surroundings really are going to define our character too. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about this, and you guys can keep drawing, or you can follow along too. So we're really going to start creating our final comic book that we want to have by the end of the week today. So now that you've made your character and thought about what kind of story you would like for them to star in,
Now-
we're going to use this bubble map to start kind of mapping out our story. And I love bubble maps because they really help us organize our thoughts.
It can explode. Just
Okay.
explode.
So I'm going to put my character up here. My character is Jello the balloon. Okay. And I'm going to think of what story I want Jello the balloon to be in.
And a black hole appeared.
Oh, awesome. A black hole. Did he get sucked in?
Because he exploded.
He exploded? Oh my goodness.
He was a big potato head.
See, I love this story. Write this story down. So, Archie, in
I
your
call He's so
in your
stupid.
little circles, you can be like, in the beginning, my character was doing this, then he exploded, and then he created a black hole. Okay, so write those things down so you can put them in your comic book. What were you showing me, Madeline? Oh my goodness, I absolutely love your characters. Those are so good, Madeline. Great job. Okay, so just like yesterday, we can use that little prompt, my character wants, but, and then because there's a problem and then you resolve it. Okay, so you can use that to help you figure out what you want to have happen in the beginning of your story, in the middle of your story, and at the end of your story. And you start filling those main events in these big circles. And then in these little circles, you can add some details. Okay? So I gave more circles in the middle of the story because that's where really most of the action takes place. A few in the beginning and just like a couple at the end. Okay? So, this will really help us. Like, if you think about like this being a panel in our comic book, this being a panel, this being a panel, this being a panel.
Snap.
Okay, by the end, we'll have all these ideas in a different panel on our comic. Okay.
Portal to the. This is a portal to the future.
Awesome, Archie. I love your story so far. It is very exciting. It's very action-packed.
Let me get a color.
Okay. So that's how you do that. Okay.
So this will just be the rough draft of our story, and we can keep editing it. Okay, refining it or changing things as we go along. Okay, so maybe brainstorm some ideas of what you want to have happen in your story. Okay. So I'm going to use that sentence we used yesterday to kind of help me get started. So I'm going to say Jello the balloon wants, very curious. So maybe he's very adventurous. Maybe Jello the balloon wants to fly to the moon, or maybe he wants to go to the jungle in Africa. Are there jungles in Africa? Maybe in South America.
Like how my big portal is going.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is Captain Casual.
Oh my gosh, I love him. That is so good, Archie. So good, Madeline. You guys are pros at drawing people.
I love what's going on. Madeline, those are such good characters. Oh my gosh, those are so good.
Can't find my pen.
So actually earlier I was thinking about my balloon and thinking maybe he could have a balloon sidekick of like you know those long balloons that they twist into different shapes. Maybe he could be like a little dog balloon, like have a little dog balloon sidekick. So I'm gonna practice drawing my little dog balloon. I think. I actually think these go together. And they can go on adventures together. These are my little balloon dogs.
Did you know, if you go in the future portal, never come back to the normal world? Never come
Yeah.
back to normal world?
What kind of world does he go to? That's exciting. I love where you're going with this, Archie.
And a monster comes out of the portal.
Whoa.
That's my character.
That
In
is
the
so.
bottom, do you write the story?
So I'm just kind of using these lines down here to kind of create a new story. Because yesterday I had that story that he wanted to smell the flowers at a birthday party. But today I'm going to write a different story for my final comic book.
Okay.
Okay? So you could use the same story as you did yesterday and add details to it to kind of make it longer, or you can start with a different story. And you might have ideas come to you just like Archie, just like you may not want the structure or need the structure of like this sentence thing that I helped you guys do yesterday. So if you just have an idea, just go with that idea and just start writing down your ideas of what might happen. Okay? But yesterday, the sentence that's in your little book, my character wants blank, but blank, so blank. You could use that too to help you if you work better that way. But some people just like to have ideas and they just flow and they just come to you and you just go with it.
Can you make 2 comic books?
You could.
Okay.
Or you can combine your stories somehow. Make one longer comic book, whichever you like.
Okay. Water. That, okay. Can I start on the next page making more people?
Yeah, you definitely can. You can definitely make more people. You can think about your story. So by tomorrow, I'd love for you all to kind of have like a storyline written down. And you can use this bubble map to break it down into each section, beginning, middle, and end. Or you can just write down whatever comes to you. Okay. And then tomorrow we're going to kind of start breaking those down into different panels. Okay. I also wanted to tell you guys about some more parts of a comic strip. So in our comic strips, you often see these little speech bubbles or word balloons. And also these thought bubbles. And these ones have kind of like a tail, and it points to the person that's speaking. Okay, so like my character would be like right here, and he would be talking. And a thought balloon is they're not speaking those words, they're just thinking them. Okay, and so there's like these little bubbles that come off. I don't know if you guys have seen those little thought balloons.
He's gonna wood because he ate somebody.
If there's like a caption in your story, it goes like a little rectangle box. And a caption would be like, meanwhile, or at the park, or later, or something like that. Okay, so You can incorporate those things into your comic book. Little word balloons and thought balloons.
You said that's good.
Like here, Garfield, since he isn't a human, he always has thought balloons.
What? Thought balloons.
Thought balloons. Yeah, these are his thoughts. You see, they're always little bubbles that come down.
I balloons, thought bubbles because, like, well, they're humans, but I just like to do thought bubbles because I want to make sure. I don't want to take up too many space and say, like somebody said, like do like a whole page of writing and then
Yeah, you could do a thought balloon for sure. And remember that your picture also is part of telling the story. So you don't have to use words to describe what's already in your picture. Okay, so they kind of work together. And you can also see here a little thought balloon and a speech bubble. Okay, I guess maybe animals always have thought balloons. I'm not sure. But it's funny because when I had read these comics as a kid, I always thought they were talking. But now I notice these are thought balloons, not speech balloons. So that's an interesting thing to consider, like what your character thinks and what your character says. Here, look, this little tiger has the speech bubble, so I guess animals can talk, and that's fine too. And then this is Rocky and Bullwinkle, and they're obviously animals, but they have speech bubbles. So you can do whatever you'd like. If you don't want your character to ever talk because he's not human, that's fine. Or you can, animals or things can actually talk in comic books too.
Yeah, it's your world. You can make it whatever you want.
Yep. Yeah, that's the exciting part about writing. You get to create your own world.
Whatever you want.
Okay, so for tomorrow, I really would love for us to all kind of have an idea of what's going to happen in our story, and maybe start thinking about what can go in each little panel. And we're going to work on that some more tomorrow. But if you could have kind of an idea of what your story is going to be about. And it can change as you go along. So just kind of have just a rough idea, or a rough draft is what we call it. Okay? Did you guys have fun drawing your characters today?
Yeah.
Good.
And parents can, you guys can text us pictures. We like to see progress.
Love
What
pictures.
you guys are up to.
And if you are stuck, you can ask your parents, Mom, I don't know what to do with this part. And they can definitely help you think of a good story.
Yeah.
Love it, Madeline. So cute. Hey, I had so much fun drawing little characters with you guys. It's really fun and a lot easier if you just break it down into little shapes. So, this is great. And I'm super excited for tomorrow.
Yep, me too. Okay, everybody, we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.